Hi, my name is Tamara Blankenship, and I go by the spoken word artist name Charisma. And this is my first recording, so it's a test through that I'm trying to, do my first show. And sometimes we kind of go through through different tests, which end up being our testimony. So I'm just, fixing out the little kinks, out of it. But to start, a little bit about myself. I am 43 years old. I have three children, which are all girls. And I'm a poetess since, I guess, maybe since I remember writing my first poem, I believe 1998, 1999. And from there, uh, I can say that I came out with my first book years after that, the year of 2011. And within that gap, and then from 2011 to now to 2019, another gap. So I have kind of, like gaps in between, work history and just being a mom and putting my dreams on hold to raise my kids. And now my kids are 18, 14, and 6. So now I'm getting back to myself and what God has called me to be and to do. Right now, I'm not showing my face because I want you to be able to listen to the words behind the face. But within my next few shows, I will be showing my face live. And with that being said, I like PowerPoint, presentations, so I kind of included that in, with how I know some people are visual. So instead of just me, just talking, I like, old school. Everybody has their own way to get their word across. But for me, I kind of like doing this. This what, works for me. Also, God gave me a vision. He gave me a dream, gifts, talents. And I was the type of person that I would just hide my gifts. I don't know if you ever seen like a TV show, and he opened his coat up and he had watches, and it kind of reminded me of Coming to America. And he had watch, he had the, Eddie Murphy and Arsenio's, gold plated, silverware and hair dryer in his coat and stuff. So I'm the type of person, I've been having all these gifts, inside this coat, but God been dealing with me like, it's time for you to shine. I put you through the fire, for you to come out as gold. But anyway, he gave me the title Spoken Word Mini-Stories Ministries. And what that is that, like I said, I'm a poetess. So another name you go about is like, spoken word. And mini stories ministries. So if you have to attend church, they have the usher, the choir ministry, the nurses ministry. So when he gave me the spoken word mini stories ministries, I'm a type of person that I read into, more than what's on the surface. So I was like, okay, ministries. So when I was like ministries, I was like, many stories. Because, look, check this out. We all have stories, many stories from when we was little up until now, little snippets of stories and stuff. Some good, some bad, some ugly. But they all come together as a story. How we watch these music videos and watch these, movies or Netflix or just whatever and stuff, and they have a plot, they have the characters. So sometimes we look at ourselves like, what, hey, we have stories, to tell. And I see, people now, telling their stories. So, back to, spoken word mini stories ministries. God was like, what? Tell your story. Because you know what? Nobody can't tell your story better than you can. So like I said, nobody can't tell you your story. And if you're going to tell your story, just be real about it. I see people telling their story and trying to fabricate a lie to make themselves more than what they are and stuff. But like I said, sometimes what you go through is to help somebody else maybe go through theirs. But sometimes we selfish, like, you know what, I'm not trying to help this person and stuff. And I'm not saying trying to help everybody, because you can't help everybody if you can't help yourself. But my thing is, I felt like we was brought on this world not to just to be birthed and then between the gap and then to die. I feel like we all have a purpose. And I know some people may not be as religious, like, they might not go to church and stuff like that, and I get to that, later down the road in some other, clips or whatever. But, I just feel like it's about, having a relationship with God, having a relationship with yourself. But 9 times out of 10, we trying to just have a relationship with ourselves and everybody else. So I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, yeah, I was brought up into church and stuff, and then the years I wasn't. Because, but, sometimes you just get tired of yourself, because you're like, man, it's more to life than just living and just not having, purpose, and sometimes you find your purpose, on purpose. So, what is your story? And sometimes we might think about it like, what is my story? So like I said previous, I came out with a book 2011, and it's entitled My Story is a Mystery That Reveals My Truth in Love Poems. I'm a hopeless romantic. So I always have liked, love, I like to read and watch and love novels and stuff. But, hey, I was living my own, love life, from the love of my life to the wrong type of loves to, the relationship that I had with myself, but didn't know it at the time. And then, like I said, for the love of God, so, with that being said, when I said, PowerPoint, take back your power and make your point. And one thing about me is that I don't post for likes, I post for looks. I know some people, they have like 1 million views or, trillion, likes or whatever. But my thing is, if I can make a difference in one person's life, then I done did my job. Because, halftime, the people, liking your stuff, are they really, your true, supporters? And, anybody could just, press like, but it's like, after I'm off camera, after, I'm, put myself, on media, social media, who is really there to like me for myself instead of just the face that's on the book. So, I want you to get to know me. And I'm the type of person, one of my friends said that I say, a lot, and I didn't know that I said that. So I said, you know what, I'm going to include that in my clip. So if you say, that's just me trying to get your attention to be like, so, and I would like for you to get to know me. All right. So like I said, this is my introduction. And, like I said, you can go to bookstamppublishing.com, barnesandnoble.com, and amazon.com, and enter my name, Tamara Blankenship, which is Tamara, and Blankenship, Blankenship. Or you could type in My Story is a Mystery That Reveals My Truth in Love Poems in the search box, and you will be able to see my book. And it's not about me just putting it out there, okay, buy my book and stuff. Okay, I hear this introduction, but but like I said, if people support me, cool, and if they don't, I'm still cool with that, because what my thing is, I want to be able to help you to write your story. Not saying you have to go out and be the next author or whatever, but like I said, if I can make a difference in somebody's life, one of my mottos too is, restoring one soul at a time. I know there's motivational speakers and they speak on thousands of people, which is good. I'm not knocking that hustle and stuff. And then afterwards, I'm the type of person, and in my quality time, after I speak, whatever platform, either if it's Facebook, if it's me out, speaking to amongst people at high schools or just whatever, I'm the type of person that I like to check on, hey, how you doing? I just called to see, blah blah blah. You doing okay? Because I like, that relation, ship, that one on one. But at the same time, I have come across people that, rode on my coattails and stuff. So I was like, you know what? I had to stop them right then and there, because I was like, I only can, deposit what I can into you. And from there, you have to do the rest of your work, or rest of, the work. So I want to, hit you with this. Did you know your story is a collaboration of many stories within your life, which is your ministry, to help others as you help yourself on purpose for a purpose? So, just think about that. And uh, friendship, companionship, partnership, relationship with this Blankenship. At first, with this last name, that's my, I got Blankenship from my father's, side of the family. And people used to make fun of my name, Blankenship. I know uh, when I was little, my brother, his friend made he made a joke about his name is like Blankenship and Dip. And then I know when I was like, in my adolescence, my one friend, she'll call me Blankenboat. And and I was like, why do I have to have this long, awkward, name, but now, I embrace, names. And even back to the word, charisma, the Lord laid that on me, a couple years ago, charisma. And if you don't, sometimes you hear charisma as charismatic, so if you don't know what it means, you can do research and Google it up, but that's the name that he gave, me. Um, and so, like I said, we all have a vision, so I say write your vision to stop the confusion and make it plain to explain, and, from there, I'm going to go to my next clip. This is Tammy. This is me as a child. And Tammy, the little girl that was within me, we all have that inner child that is within us that, how can I say this? Okay, like I said I'm 43 years old. But then sometimes that Tammy, that child that who felt abandoned and rejected and unloved, sometimes she want to pop out, every now and then. And I feel like we have that own inner child, especially if we haven't dealt with the traumas, within ourselves as we was little, whatever, the case may be. So, Tammy, the child, I had, like I said, I had a sibling. His name was Thomas, and he passed away 1998. He died 2 weeks before his 21st birthday, and that hit me, hard, because that was my only brother. And let me kind of like rewind back. My mother was a single mother. My parents had divorced, and it was just me and my brother. My mama had, worked, a job, 3 different shifts, just to, take care of me and my brother. And I appreciate that, for my mom, because I see my mom and myself, that the 3, kids that I have, that I do whatever I can, to raise them, even if it is by myself, even of the decisions and the choices that I have made. But, like I said, I'm not going to get into that until, later. But, back, to the child. When we dreaming, we're like, I want to be a doctor when I grow up. I want to be a basketball player. I want to be this. I want to be that. And then life hit us. And some of the stuff that we said we wanted to be when we was little, when we get older, we get so busy, working a job, or I say just over broke, and we stop dreaming. We don't dream no more. I understand we have to have this job to pay the bills and, take care of business. But the dreaming on us stop dreaming, I say some of us. And so now it's kind of, get back to that inner child within us to not only just work this job, but you know what? At the same time, you know, dream your dream. That gift that you have, that talent that you have, and invest. Sometimes we work these hard, these shifts, 8 hours and first, second, third shift, graveyard shift, and we so tired. But I say, I'm just speaking for myself, is that, take that job and invest into your dreams, invest into your talents, invest it into your purpose. Now, I don't know what your purpose and your dreams and your talents is. Only you know, or what God has, put in you. But like I said, for myself, back even I was a little girl, I was quiet, real shy, and I suppressed a lot of emotions within myself because I really didn't know how to speak. And that stuck with me for years, and I didn't like that about myself. I was like, well, I just can't talk. Why I'm just so quiet? But later I realized that being quiet is it's kind of a good thing. It's a time to speak and it's a time to be quiet. And a lot of people, I know a lot of people that talk too much and they don't know when to be quiet. But within my quietness, allowed me to be discerning. It allowed to listen to my heart, to my mind, to my soul. It allowed me to listen to God of what He downloaded. So it's a good thing. So back to Tammy being quiet, and shy, and people be like, oh, she weak, she whatever. But girl, when I open my mouth, whatever God put in my spirit, I talk and people listen. So back to Tammy, because you know what, even though my name is Tamara, people call me Tammy for short. People always have called me for Tammy because they pronounce my first name wrong anyway. Tamara, and tomorrow. And so back to Tammy. Tammy was this this little girl, shy, and what else I could say about her. She went through a lot. And well, when Tammy, as she was younger, she was molested, by somebody that was outside her family, and she was scared, and she confided, I confided into my brother, and my brother confided to somebody else, and somebody else confided to that, because we was learned to, like whatever, happens in the family stays in the family, the skeletons, in our closet. And I, not to really kind of go into, detail, but, from me telling a person, of what really happened, I felt hurt because the person didn't stick up for me, and that hurted. And I lived with that for years. Even not just saying that's, just because of that, but, I allowed, from that was, I remember, to be taken advantage of, from my innocence. So even with, Tammy, going to her adolescence, losing her virginity at 16, sophomore, in high school, and just having relationships with, different, men, or whatever, Tammy was still this lost, abandoned, unloved, rejected child that showed up, in my, dating, experience. And sometimes it's for us to go back to that trauma, like I said earlier, and to that child in us, because sometimes we grown up, but our inner child has never grown up. And sometimes we still stuck there because we don't never, deal with that person. And it shows up in our relationships, with people, or relationships with that man and that woman. And, and, like I said, I can just go, on and on and on. But like I said, get back to your, inner child, within yourself. And that may, reveal the mystery of why the things we do that we do. And let's see. The next thing I'm going to talk about is intimacy, or other words, intimacy. Sometimes we have to take that look within ourselves, the hurt, the shame, the rejection, the abandonment, and we have to look in that mirror, to see ourselves. It's so quickly to point the finger at others without pointing the finger at ourselves. And sometimes, how I say it, the relationships with different people, sometimes they that mirror that shows back on ourselves. Because like I said, it's so quick to not be held accountable for ourselves and to put it on everybody else. But sometimes, especially if it's the people and you doing this like the same pattern over and over and over with the different people and different situations, sometimes we have to sit back and, like I said, and just be quiet and just think, like, what is I'm doing? Not saying that it was right or wrong of what whoever did what, but sometimes we have to look in ourselves and be like, what is I'm doing that shows up into this everything, with people. So a friend of mine, he gave me the name like a unicorn. Because my thing is butterflies. When you watch the intro, you saw the butterflies. I love butterflies because it shows the transformation from the caterpillar to the cocoon, to the butterfly. So my friend, he called me a unicorn because, and I like that because when he kind of gave it to me, it was like to him it's like, I guess I'm unique. But I took it a step further because how I said I'm into the fact I read beyond just what's on the surface, but I look at my horn as a third eye. So sometimes, so like I said, that third eye, to see what you really look like behind the mask and take a look deep down within your soul. So sometimes we have to do some soul searching within ourselves. What can I do to be a better me? Just to think about that. What can I do to be a better self? And sometimes we have to ask our questions, certain questions, within, and for it to project within, without. And so, like I said, before you speak, we all should look in a mirror. And sometimes that will answer, some things and clear some things up before we, like I said, project, to somebody else. So, with that being said, this, like I said, this was just an intro, a test through that I was just trying to see how this would, play out. And so just be ready for some other videos. I'm just talking from, from my head and, from my heart and from my soul. So I'm not gonna draw it out maybe no further. Some days it may be 15 minutes, some days it may be 30 minutes, sometimes it may be an hour. So, I don't know each day. I don't know if it's going to be once a week, but when I felt the need, because really I'm supposed to have been doing this a long time ago. But, like I said, I put it on the back burner, put it on the back burner, put it on the back burner. I was like, I'll get to it, procrastinating. And now I'm just like, what? I was like, I'm tired of this one platform just writing all the time and showing this and showing that. And, I'm tired of, so I was like, I wanted to be able to be used as a vessel now to be heard, So, like I said, even if I do go out with a second book, or turn into speaking engagements or to an audio book, but I want to be seen now. I want to be heard. I want to make, like I said earlier, I want to make a difference. So I see I have about maybe a couple more minutes. So within that, I'm gonna use that to you know ask you, what do you see in yourself to make that change? It kind of remind me of Michael Jackson. Make that change. I see that. Okay, don't quit my day job with the singing. I can't write no lyrics, but I can't sing unless it's in the shower. But you gotta look at that man and that woman, in the mirror, and what do you see? I was also watching this show, Fix My Life. It was Yana Van Zant. It was a long time ago she had a show, and now she have another. Well, not Fix My Life is now, but back then she had a show called Starting Over. So sometimes we have to start over and press rewind, to be able to move forward. And sometimes we, like I said, we have to fix that life of the mistakes we've made. Don't Sometimes I used to beat myself just making mistakes. Sometimes I make the same mistakes after mistakes, and I knew better. I knew it. Even my book is a blueprint trying to tell people and show people what the things to do and this and that and stuff. But then I wasn't even following my own advice. So I had to look at myself. I was like, how you going to tell somebody else to do something and you not even do it? And I was like, whoa. So I had to, just look at myself to be able to go back to the things of why I keep on doing this and why I keep on doing that in order to come out. Because like I said, sometimes when you don't deal with stuff, and I'm talking about to the root, some people just want to brush stuff on the surface. No, sometimes you got to go, like I said, that intimacy deep down to the root of the problem. Sometimes we don't even know why we do the things we do. But sometimes when you get to that root and you start asking them hard questions to yourself, then you just start realizing some stuff. And you just be like, man. But like I said, now is, make that change. Because before we can, like I said, before we can make that change within somebody else, we have to make that, change within ourselves. And I promise you, once you do that, even the Lord, He will show some things within us, to be able to, to change. But it's for our good, though. Some things you went through in life, that test was really, like I said earlier, your testimony. Or sometimes we walk around just bitter, but it is really for our better. Some things that we scared of, that we're fearful of, but it's to go through that, to step out and take that leap of faith. Sometimes that mess that's within us is really our message. So, so like I said, just, think about that. And when you start to realize all that, and the Lord speaking to you and you dealing with yourself, then that's when we start finding our purpose on purpose. Sometimes it's not until you go through this and do this and do that and stuff. And then you be like, like Arsenio Hall, things to you make you go, And I promise you that once you put all that together, things are start gonna making sense to you. Your senses, you're gonna start seeing things, differently. You're gonna start hearing things, differently. You're gonna have a different taste, for different things. You're gonna start feeling, a different way, and you're gonna start, smelling, like, this mess in my life, it stinks. What fragrance is I'm, giving out. So just think about your five senses. And sometimes we even got that sixth sense. And that sixth sense is that gut, that something in us that is more to this than what it is. And so sometimes we have to, our sixth sense, which just, our intuition, that gut feeling, that spirit that's, speaking to us. But with that being said, I'm about to close out. So thank you for listening to Tamara Charisma Blankenship at Spoken Word Mini-Stories Ministries Incorporated. So actually, I am a business. So until next time, I'm signing out. Peace.